Shalom and welcome with Bindronovsky. So interestingly enough, just in the latest video I said I don't publish many dreams and now I come up with one. However, I can't say for certain it will be prophetic, but it was a very unusual dream and I will explain a bit why I considered the possibility it to be prophetic, and that's why I post it here. Or prophetic in a sense that it's for not a personal prophetic dream. Anyway, first I want to speak about the dream itself, including some drawings for you to be able to follow a bit the location. But in any case, please ask the Holy Spirit for guidance and wisdom as you listen or read the dream. Transcript is provided. Interpretation can vary with many directions. There is a reason I put a question mark at the end of the title. Only time will tell if this was prophetic, and then it still depends on the interpretation. Like some of the biblical prophecy. Okay, some biblical prophecy like the destruction of the temple in 70 AD was very clear, and Damascus will also be clear. But others might not be so easy to recognize. Have it already happened, or will it come in the future, or both? But now I go into the dream. So I'm coming from somewhere, walking towards a big building that has different sections, and I am about to enter. It's like a big compound that includes a residential area, including something like a hospital inside, or other stuff, some playgrounds and greenery around, outside of course, also some water on one side and whatever more. I am able to see only a section of this compound. I passed the side with the water that appeared to flow through a forest, partial forest, and there I see a small gondola, a boat close by, maybe the size for 2 people, and recognized the person who is sitting in there was brutally murdered in an unknown way. It could be this person got torn by a wild beast or eaten partially by a disease. I'm not an expert on such things, but it looks very ugly. I go inside the building without looking too close at this person, nor do I take any time to make some more investigations, because somehow I knew and sense it by the feeling or the atmosphere. There is something very dangerous roaming around. Whatever it is, I don't know. So I go into the building to walk to the other side of the compound, or planning to walk to the other side of the compound, basically more or less a long corridor. Actually, as I enter, a woman comes along. It passes me and walks to the other side where I just came from. It appears to me, or somehow I knew in the dream, in that area where she goes, she has a room or apartment where she stays or lives. Since the door I entered the building is still a bit open, she can see outside, and meanwhile I am already a bit further. This is a door that slowly closes automatically. And it is actually an elevator that is at the end of the corridor. And technically, as 2 doors, where of course both doors were still a bit open as I just passed. People can use it to either go up or down in the elevator or simply pass through it to go outside or inside. There, through the door, she obviously sees outside, and I hear her screaming, a very petrified scream. I did not turn, but walk my way to the other side, because I know she sees this murdered person in the gondola. Perhaps she will call someone who can deal with the situation, but I don't want to be in any way involved in any discussions or questions. Enough for me of what I roughly saw. But as I reach the opposite side of the building, I go outside. This is an area with different levels, so mostly covered with grass and plants or trees around. Towards the building, the levels are a bit higher, and then away from the building the levels get lower and lower. Where one is an area, there I see several animals, pets around. There on these lower levels, I realize some cats seek to go to the upper areas or eventually higher inside to go inside the building. And the next level where these cats were about to reach, I see a bunch of other cats, 5 or 6 of them, all of them dead. Most of them are black, but they look very odd. It's like everything inside, including the bones, were sucked out of them. Basically, the skin was left on the ground with all flesh and bones removed. Looks like as if you draw or paint the form of the cats on the floor. But they were real, these cats, the skin. I knew they have not died because they starved to death, but something or someone sucked out everything, flesh, organs, and even the bones, from inside the cats and remained the skin on the ground. And the skins are not torn or any hole in there, and also clean and healthy skins. And I thought by myself, that's very weird. The cats who wanted to come up to this level also have clean skins and look very healthy, like nice, well-treated house cats or pets. Then for some reason I go back inside, now with someone who needs assistance, and it appears as like I am in a hospital or hospital area, but it's the same compound, same corridor. There I go back to the other side of the building where the elevator is at the end. Maybe 10 meters before that, is a relatively big door with huge handles in golden color, I don't know what to say. The door might be of metal and is red like the red of fire trucks or so. Maybe it's a fire door, I don't know, but it's big. There's also a doctor around us or nearby. I think he is the one who opens the door and we go towards the elevator. We wait a bit at the elevator and the door opens automatically. The doors of the elevator are very dark gray, almost black, which makes it very dark. As I wanted to go into the elevator, I recognize there is no light inside. But more to it. The light in the corridor, which is also not a lot, does not shine into the elevator, as if the darkness in the elevator swallows the light. When I came into the building through this elevator, it didn't appear as if there is such a darkness inside the elevator. But now it is very intense. I also realized that there is someone unknown outside of the building, basically on the opposite side of the elevator. I knew or feel it even as the outer door of the elevator is still closed. Maybe it only opens if someone goes inside the elevator, so I don't know. But I also knew this person outside or entity outside blocks the elevator from moving. And as soon someone will go inside, the doors towards the corridor would close and this thing outside would come into the elevator when the door opens on the other side. I have some kind of a stick in my hand and I'm thinking I might use this to fight and beat that entity. But not knowing what it is, might be big, I decided to turn around and go back to the other side of the building where it just came from. So as I look to the door with the huge handles, the red door with the huge handles, where I know the doctor passed there to go somewhere else, along the corridor or wherever, the door also is automatic and are just about to close, but still I can see the doctor a bit. And then I realize here that section between the red door and the elevator has also turned dark. When I initially entered here, I knew it had some white or cream color walls but now all looks fuzzy dark, even not clear walls anymore. Just before the door shut, I shout after the doctor, as he was not very far away, but he did not respond at all. Somehow I knew he did not respond on purpose, not because he could not hear me. I don't know the reason why he would not respond, but somehow he was ignoring my call even though I addressed him directly and personally. I am not sure if the door locks by itself, but with the big handles it appeared to me, and there's hardly a way to open it by my own strength. But before I can reach the door, the dream ended. So now the interesting part, or not so interesting, some words about the dream or somehow a fraction of an interpretation, so to say, if you will. A dear brother helped me to see actually a bit more, as interpretation is really not my gift. And basically, this building or compound with all the surrounding represents the world. And we are boxed into it where people do different things. The most important aspect, I would say, when I woke up from the dream, I had absolutely exact the same feeling of the dream as from the dream I had about the C-19 plandemic. That was some month before it arrived in 2019 or so. The basic elements were different in the other dream, but people were dying from an invisible enemy in two different places. Also, you have two different places, and this time the murdered person on one side and a strange dead cats on the other side. So on the other dream was both people, and also the person or entity where I felt like dangerous is similar from the feeling I had, this invisible enemy. But I know it was some kind, a person or some type of entity that may or may not be human. What's new in the dream, the doctor who did not respond, the elevator without lights, I could compare with the places in the other dreams with a total mess and a fuzzy atmosphere, very depressing. Just thinking, when I entered this building, there was still some light inside, but towards the end, it got darker and darker. I would compare it as when I was born, there was still some light in the world, some happiness or some whatever. But especially the last years, it gets just darker by the day, the insanity is just increasing. Not sure how dark the world will become, but as like in the elevator when the darkness even swallows the little light that is left, wondering how dark everything will become one day. So the closer we come to the end of our dream, our world, or our history, or a nightmare. So the woman in the gondola could possibly represent there is something dangerous in the waters. Whatever it is, I don't know. Enough to see the symptoms. Something in the forest, in the jungle. Even in the dream, the forest was not very dense. It was just a very light forest. So I'm wondering if there's something in the pipeline of what the elites are planning. Of course, their goal is always to kill as many as possible and just leave 500 million. We know the plans of the unelected terrorists of the WHO to take over health decisions in most countries. Is it by the end of June or end of May? I don't know. I'm not sure about that. And then once they have control over people's health, they just create a disease out of numbers. It's like money is created out of thin air. As we had, with this fake test with 100% failure rate, with fake statistic, they can just declare a health crisis of international concern, even with 10 people internationally be sick. And then they decide what they want to do, and you can decide to die by their coming, maybe another needle weapon that is about to arrive, or trust the Father in heaven to keep you under the shelter of his wings. So we can pray this contract, the WHO contract, will not come to pass, or at least postponed for some years, perhaps for the time when the Antichrist will reveal himself, who he is. Also, we can pray it will not be like the other dream and another evil plague with all the devastating effects worldwide, or another forced needle therapy trying to mark the rest of the population, or at least trying to find a way to round them up. They found already different ways for the believers, call them hate speech. Now, as mentioned, I don't claim it to be definitely a prophetic dream, but as the C19 dream, I could point to something very evil that is on the horizon, with many more people, including animals, dying. Only time will tell. Interpretation can also go to other directions, but in connection to how I woke up, and this is the most important thing, it makes me wonder if there's another plandemic waiting at the door to come into this world. Important is anyway to be ready and prepared for anything. Scripture is clear about these last days we're living in, days of Noah or Sodom and Gomorrah. It will not be easy or a happy picnic in the park. So cling to Yeshua and disconnect us from the wicked system of this world as much as possible. And then whatever happens, you will be safe, especially when you make sure that your name is written in the Lamb's Book of Life. Our life on earth is anyway only a vapor, but eternity is forever. Be of the side of the sheep and not of the goats. And now I finish here. Be mightily blessed, and Adonai be with you. Shalom, shalom.